Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name is Howson. This is Tactical Preview, Manchester United, Manchester City, Manchester Derby at the Etihad. And do you know what? There's actually a little bit of confidence going into this from United fans because of the results and the wins that we've been managing to put together. Now, before I get into this video, what I wanted to say to you is this channel is supported by the legends on Patreon. And what we're doing at the moment is getting together a FIFA tournament. It's going to be a worldwide FIFA tournament. There's almost 500 in the Patreon group. What we're going to do is we're going to have like an Xbox group, we're going to have a PlayStation group, and then we're going to have a big grand final here in the studio, which we'll put live on Twitch. So if you'd like to get involved with that, you're going to have a couple of weeks before the competition really starts. So hit the link in the description, come and join Patreon, and you've got a chance for that. I'm going to get a trophy, there'll be signed United shirts, there'll be all sorts of stuff. We're going to go absolutely all out for it. Now, let's get into what we're here for. Let's talk about the derby. Let's see about how we can win it, how we can lose it, who's going to be the key players and all the rest of it. So right then, confidence. I think the confidence is going to be there. That home game against Juventus aside, the last run of games for United have been good in terms of performance, largely, but the results definitely. Now, that ability to come from behind, especially in Turin at Juventus this week, that's going to have given United an incredible boost. That's going to be, that flight home would have been absolutely bouncing with energy, wouldn't it? You can see it on social media the last couple of days. The players have been bantering each other off. They've been commenting all sorts of mad shit on, like, when Lingard's doing what he's done with Ronaldo. You're not doing that in an unhappy camp. It really seems like the United players have turned it round and they're starting to look like they can believe. I can't remember who said it, and I've been looking this morning to try and find who the quote was from in the treble season, when someone said, when we got past Liverpool in the treble season, we came from behind. That was when we knew we had something in us. Maybe this Turin game is the turning point for United. So many times coming from behind against nobody give us a chance, did they? Nobody. I think a lot of people thought we had more chance of beating City than we did Juventus in Turin. But Turin and Juventus we did. And now we go to the Etihad. Can we do the same again there? That's what we're going to be looking at in a second. I think we're outsiders, but there's a lot more hope on the back of what we've just seen then. So United's last 6 games have seen us with 4 wins, 1 draw, and obviously that 1 defeat at home to Juventus. Well, that 1 defeat really highlighted the gulfing class between United and Juventus, and by extension European elite football teams, where we want to be back amongst, and we are definitely not a part of at the moment. That draw against Chelsea, that was pretty unlucky, but the rest of those results in there, with the Newcastle win, with the Everton win, with the Bournemouth win, pretty decent results where we've seen some pretty good individual and team performances, if not perfect. And the difference is we're still not seeing it for 90 minutes. Against City at the Etihad, we are definitely going to need a 90-minute performance from United. Now, we've seen us come from behind. We've seen us start scoring some goals. We've seen us become a threat from set pieces. Now's the time to see us do it for 90 minutes and put a dent in City's title hopes, even though I'm sure they're probably going to go on and win the league anyway. Right, key player for Manchester United this weekend is 100% going to be Anthony Martial. Anthony Martial, at the moment, 11 shots. Let's just forget about how many goals he's scored, really, in terms of goals versus games. He's had 11 shots. Now, all of these shots have been blocked, saved, or goals. He hasn't missed with a single shot in the Premier League before you all start jumping on. He missed one against Juventus midweek. In the Premier League, he's had 11 shots. 5 of them have gone in the net, 3 of them have been saved, 3 of them have been blocked. Anthony Martial, this season, is an absolute dead eye for Manchester United. If you look at his last 4 Premier League games, he's got 5 goals in those 4 Premier League appearances. Anthony Martial is the man that we need to be looking for as our major outlet in this game. Now, if we look at City's form, to be honest, it's flawless. It's absolutely flawless. It's 6 wins. They've scored 23 goals in those 6 games and conceded 1. Unbelievably monumental task ahead of us. But I do wonder, at what point does all of these accusations that are being slung at Manchester City about performance-enhancing drugs, about the oil money, financial doping and the fraud that's been going on around financial fair play, all of those accusations have to leak into the dressing room at some point. And with Manchester United's confidence riding high because of the way that we're achieving victories, when Manchester City have come up against tough prospects like Liverpool and Tottenham, they have struggled a little bit, even though they haven't been beaten in any of those games. So how do you beat their system? Let's have a look at what I think City's starting 11 is going to be. I think it's going to be largely unchanged, but I think one of the key things to notice in this 11 is obviously Fernandinho is the number 6. He sits there at the base and he dictates play. Bernardo Silva against Liverpool was dropped down and they played him alongside him in a bit of a double pivot. And the consequence of that was David Silva played as a bit of a central number 10. And because Liverpool managed to get around him and prevent him having a massive impact on the game, that limited Sergio Aguero's time on the ball, and he was largely ineffective, hence the clean sheet that Liverpool was able to keep. Now, I wonder if Manchester United are able to replicate what Liverpool did there by having harassing forwards that are able to get in and amongst this midfield of City's, put pressure on City's defence, and maybe turn that into something positive for us. The good news is, I think, for United, if this is what Pep decides to do, I think we've got the players to do that in Ander Herrera, in Jesse Lingard, and we'll talk in a second about Ashley Young's impact in all of this lot. But I think if he lines up the same way he lined up against Liverpool, expecting to play out of a little bit of a press, because that was the reason that he brought David Silva back a little bit, to give them more options playing out from the back. If he decides to do that, I think that's where Jesse Lingard and Sanchez can be quite quick and quite aggressive. I also wouldn't mind seeing Marcus Rashford here, but I'll talk about that a little bit later when I talk about my 11. The key player for Manchester City, and the one that we're going to have to keep quiet, is Raheem Sterling. Now, Sterling, for how good Martial's been this season and how dead-eye he's been in front of goal, Sterling has got 6 goals, 5 assists in 9 games, 4 man of the matches as well. And I'm talking Premier League only here. He's absolutely on fire. He's looking ridiculously good for City this season, and he's evolved into a real versatile threat. We can't allow this guy to dribble. If he's coming into the box with a ball at his feet, we are already in trouble. Now, Ander Herrera and Ashley Young have got a real job keeping the Sun's favourite player quiet, I think. And when we've seen Young put in these good performances, it's usually been in tandem with a Matic or Herrera, and they've sort of blocked off a lane a little bit for him. Young's gone in hard on him, very physical, which is what he's done with Salah, what he's done with Hazard. And then Ander Herrera or someone else will block off the inside and they'll double up on the guy a little bit. I think that's what United are definitely going to have to do. And I think that's what's needed this weekend. But before I get into my starting 11, what I want to talk to you about a little bit, or bring to you a little bit as we try and make these previews better and better every week, is Jose Mourinho's press conference. So quite often we discuss these and we have some of the quotes from Jose. I thought I'll bring them on screen for you so you guys can read them as well as we're talking about them. So Jose Mourinho talking about comebacks. What he says is, if we keep conceding goals before the opportunity, there will be a day where we cannot come back. So we have to grow up in our approach, because it's clear the team is growing up. But we have to grow up in our compactness and start matches well. He then mentions a little bit, we did start well against Juventus, and I absolutely agree with him. I thought the first 20 minutes in Turin, United looked like a team that was going to go on and win that match. Unfortunately, the next 25 minutes of the first half, I was an absolute certainty that Juventus was going to turn us over, and it was going to be a matter of how many they got, not if they would go on and beat us. And that changed. The later the game got, the more wasteful Juventus became in possession, the more wasteful they became with their shots, the more Manchester United had opportunities. And Jose Mourinho, I think, needs a lot of credit for changing it with the substitutions that he brought in. Marcus, Fellaini and Mata all had an impact on that game and getting the result for Manchester United. And he's also spoken a little bit about the FFP. And I think this is going to be interesting. I knew he was going to get asked about it, because you want a quote from Jose Mourinho if you're a reporter here, don't you? But it's bollocks asking him. There's absolutely no need for it. But here's what he said. I focus on my job. I focus on the 4 lines. I don't know what the 4 lines are. I focus on football. If you want to speak about their football potential, we can speak, and that starts with investment. After that, of course, there's quality of work. What is behind that, I cannot say. I think he's been quite complimentary to the work that has definitely gone on at City and what they've built at the moment. On the pitch, absolutely phenomenal. Off the pitch, clearly there's issues and there's things at play that maybe not quite as savoury or what they seem on the face of it. I'm not sure UEFA or FIFA will do anything, because obviously they've colluded with them to keep them playing the way they have been. And finally, the last one that he's spoken about then is Lukaku. And I think Lukaku is a bit of a conundrum for us at the moment. He's not been great this season, but you can't deny the guy's quality. And I think to score 27 goals in his debut season in a United team that wasn't scoring goals was a really good achievement. I wonder if he was deliberately left out of Juventus and has been rested so he can have an impact in this game. That's what I'm hoping has been the case. And if that's the case, and he has been rested and he's not travelled and he's worked on stuff and he's looked at a lake and meditated and done all the things that he needs to do, and he comes into this game and smashes it, then that is an absolute masterstroke from Jose to pull him out of the firing line, rest him up like we need, but maybe a week isn't enough. The quote anyway about Lukaku. Lukaku is training with the team this morning. If the answer is positive, and we have, of course, one more session tomorrow, if the answer is positive, the answer is positive. If the answer is positive, he's ready. He kind of repeats himself a fair bit on there, but you know what I'm saying. So it'd be interesting to see whether Lukaku does line up for Manchester United. That's going to be the thing that we don't know until the 11th hour. But here's my starting 11 anyway. This is the 11 that I think we'll go for. I don't think it's going to have Lukaku in it. I think we're going to see the same 11 that started against Juventus, and I don't really have a lot of complaints about that, largely because I think there's a bit of a lack of options. In this formation, what you're looking for is Lingard and Sanchez to press from the front. Herrera and Pogba will need to work and help protect both of these flanks, because that's the way City like to spread the ball. And you don't want them anywhere near our box. Narrow, compact, physical, and deadly on the break. That's got to be the focus for Manchester United this weekend against City. Martial needs to be the outlet. Let's find him in the channel and get him 1v1 against Ederson. Now, I would prefer Valencia over Young. Certainly not for the crossing ability, but I think he does deal with Sterling a little bit better. I think Sterling is scared of him. I'd like to see Matic dropped. I think Matic is covering for the frailties in the defence quite well, which is one of the reasons why I think he's playing week in, week out. He sort of covers a little bit for Lindelof, and he covers a little bit for Smalling. He gets protection. Lindelof gets protection for the aerial balls that I just don't expect you'll see from City. The back four I would go for, if I was being completely honest, would be Rojo, Bay and Shaw and Valencia. You know, with the three we've barely seen, I'd like to have known that they've been over in Russia chopping wood and running mountains up and down, getting ready to kick some ass this weekend, but no, that's not going to happen, is it? They're not in favour, and we're probably not going to see them. I'd also like to see Fred in the 11 and Rashford as well for their pace and their energy, but I like to think they're probably going to be a good option off the bench. Same for Lukaku. Hopefully he's been off and relaxing, and he could come back and be an absolute nightmare. Righty then, this video is brought to you by Perfect 10, and you guys know all about this already. You can win £10,000 simply for coming and joining, and I'm also giving a shirt away to anybody that wins my league on a month-by-month basis, so you don't even have to get all 10 right. You can just win 10 grand. You can just win a match shirt, a United shirt, home, away, or the third kit, just for topping my league on a month-by-month basis. At the moment, there's quite a few of you on 7. Uche, Ryan, Robert and Matthew are currently on 7 points. There's not that many more games, is this, for November, so you guys, you could be sitting quite pretty if you have another good weekend this weekend. But let's get straight into it and let's have a bash. Here's what we're going to do this weekend. I'm certain that United game's in here. I've not even looked, but let's have a quick look. Southampton versus Watford. I've bagged on Southampton all the time, haven't I? And they keep letting me down. Same with Newcastle, they're in it every week. And I keep saying that this is the week that they're going to win, innit? So let's shock the world and let's go Southampton win, Newcastle win. Are we having it this weekend or what? Then we've got Nottingham Forest against Stoke. Stoke have been terrible, haven't they? I'm going to say a draw. QPR, they're in here every week as well. I'm going to go for QPR home win. I'm going to go for Reading to beat Ipswich. I'm going to go with an away win for Leeds. Swansea away win against Bolton. I'm going to say a draw between Crewe and Carlisle. Blackpool are winning against Exeter. And in the last game, I'm going to say a draw between Burton and Scunthorpe. The tiebreaker is how many goals are going to be scored in that. I think it's quite a low scoring week this weekend. I'm going to say 18 goals. You having that? There we go. That's me putting that little bet on there. If you want more details about the Sportsman Perfect 10 and you want to win 10 grand, it's completely free to enter, and I'm just trying to get as many people in my league as possible, and the more chance we do that, the more stuff I can give away. Someone's going to win a match shirt like they did last month, this month, and there's only a couple more weekends to do it, so get involved. The link is in the description. And let's hit the questions. Right then, let's see what you guys are saying in the Patreon group in terms of questions. We have got Barbie Sean. If Sanchez is out injured, would you bring Lukaku back if he's fit or start Rashford? What I would do in that situation is, and what I was noticing against Juventus, is that Jesse Lingard and Sanchez was making a hell of a lot of the same runs, to the point that it was quite annoying that they were doing that. So what I would do is I would play Jesse Lingard as the false 9. If you've been working all week on setting up a system to go the same way that you did against Juventus, that is, if you've worked on something else, obviously it's something else. But if you're trying to replicate what you did against Juventus and have a bit of a false 9, Jesse Lingard's that guy, and play Marcus Rashford on the right wing. That is what I would go for. Ryan, how key is Herrera for this game? I think Herrera should be a guy that's in contention to wear the captain's armband. It's an absolute travesty that he doesn't play more for United. I think he really gets it. Whether he's a United fan or not, I'm not really sure, but I think he properly gets it. So I would love to see Ander Herrera played more often. And in the biggest of big games, Ander Herrera turns up. So he gets a go for me. Andy Rogers says, all right, Steve, honestly, with the way City are playing just now, if we can survive the first half barrage, that City will give us, can we do our normal second half FC? Herrera in before Matic with Fred and Pogba. I wouldn't mind seeing that, and I can understand the reasons for that. I definitely think we're going to see Matic, though. Can we survive that first half barrage? It's first half FC versus second half FC, isn't it? What's going to play out? Do we need to concede before we score? Because I think if we concede against City, we could end up getting run out on the way every team has sort of done it to them. I don't think you can sit back. I think you've got to go and play them on the front foot, which is Ryan's next question. Is it better to be offensive or defensive in this game? You've definitely got to be aware of what they can do, without a shadow of a doubt, but I think you've got to try and exploit them in behind and get in there and really get in their faces. Is FFP optional, says Jazz. Clearly. Clemens, how do you think we have a chance against them? Shithousery times 1000 FC. Yeah. Basically, we've got to go and do a number on them. I don't think you can just sit there and park the bus and hope for the best, because they see that week in, week out. That's what most teams' tactic is against them. Liverpool take the game to them. Liverpool try and get in their faces. They try and make them lose possession in and around the halfway line, and then they transition quickly into attack, and then they get numbers forward. That's what you've got to do with them. You definitely have to be wary of them, but it's about being efficient in the counter-attack and quick on the transition. If you can do that and you can get the ball to the feet of the likes of Tony Marshall, then you're going to get the opportunities. And the form he's in, I think he scores this weekend, I really do. PL Murphy, what are the chances of Matic starting on the bench? We really need as much grit as possible in the midfielder, which would be Herrera and Fred. I think there's a lot of grit about Matic. I just don't think there's a lot of dynamism about him. I think he does a lot that goes unseen, but I do agree that I think you might need a little bit more energy in this game. Ansi's Red, do you think a Lukaku return will upset the current momentum? He might add to it. I think he might have something that they've been working on in training, with the reason why he was rested midweek. Maybe is that. I'm not buying that he's injured. Let's put it that way. I think he was rested and taken out of the firing line a little bit. And if there's something that they've worked on specifically which gets him back into the mix, then, like I said earlier, it might be a masterstroke from Jose. Babshan, if we somehow win against City, can we say we're back in the title race? No. Come on, man. We're still miles adrift from them. If we take 3 points off them, it's a massive statement of intent. And I think the subsequent games that follow after that, what I really think we can go and do is we can really start to put a run together. We've got a relatively winnable period of games up until that Liverpool game. And Liverpool probably are going to be fighting for their life in the Champions League. And we play Valencia before we play Liverpool. And we might have already wrapped up qualification for the next round then. If Liverpool still need the win, it might really fall in our favour that we can rest players a little bit. Maybe give those youth debuts that we've all been wanting to see, because we've already secured qualification the week before. And then we can go into the Liverpool game at Anfield a little bit rested. Now, if we, in that process, we've not lost to Chelsea, we've beat City. If we can beat Arsenal as well, if we can do all of that going into that Liverpool game and then take some points off Liverpool, then you might start saying United might be a contender. But you've got to expect that they're going to drop points elsewhere. If they don't, if City beat us and then they just carry on this run, they'll have won the league already by then. But I think you've got to really let us put that run together beforehand. You can't just like beat City and go, oh, we're in the mix now. I think there's a lot more that needs to happen before that. Arshin, I don't see us getting even a point. I didn't see us getting a point in Turin, let alone 3. Boy, was I wrong. What do I think realistically are our chances against City on Sunday? We've got a problem, and the problem is mistakes. There's mistakes in Chris Smalling, and I'm terrified about Aguero up against Chris Smalling. I think that's why you've got to try and cut the supply through David Silva to Chris Smalling, through Chris Smalling, and stop it getting to Aguero. I think there's mistakes in Lindelof, but I think this game suits him more than most in the Premier League because of the way City play. And I think Matic, depending which Matic turns up, he could go and end up doing what he did against Dybala, and he could end up getting a red card in the Manchester derby if he does something like that. There's mistakes in those 3 players, and there's a mistake in Ashley Young as well, defensively. And I think that could be where the game is won or lost. I think United have got to win possession, transition fast, get it in behind City's defence, certainly behind the gaps that the fullbacks leave. Expose them there and be clinical when we get our opportunities. We can't be wasteful because we're going to have about 30% possession at best, aren't we? Let's be honest with ourselves. That's what we're going to have. So in that 30%, we need to make sure that we're getting chances. And if we're getting chances, we need to make sure that we're putting them away. Do you think Jose has made us unpredictable enough that Pep can't prepare for us? No, because we're only going to play Shaw and Young at fullback probably. You know what they're going to offer. We've only got maybe 2 or 3 options that you're going to play as a system going forward. The midfield basically picks itself. I don't think we're that unpredictable, to be honest. Now, I think you could do some stuff where you mix it up and go with maybe 4-2-2 and go very narrow down the middle and sacrifice one of those wingers and have 2 players that split in the front. That could be a good option, and to be really solid in the middle. It depends where Jose sees where we're going to win this game. And if we did go 4-2-2, I think Marouane Fellaini is going to get the full game. But I think if you can go with the lineup that I've put, and you can have Lukaku, Rashford and Fellaini on the bench, then you've got options that can come and change again if we are still in the hunt by the 60-70 minute mark. Because looking at the recent results of Manchester City, game could be over before the hour, well over before the hour. So you've got to stay in the hunt and you've got to try and do the sort of job that you did in Turin. We was not the better team, but we come away with the 3 points, and I think every single one of us are taking that on Sunday. James says, wouldn't you just love to see Jesse, Marcus and Marshall start up front? We're not going to control any of this match in terms of possession, so counter will be key. Have to go with our quickest players. Matt is sitting and linking behind Rashford, wishful thinking. Yeah, I mean, Dave's obviously in here. Dave really thinks that we should be playing through Mata in this game, and I can see why, because on the ball, Mata is genuine quality. But I want to go with more pace, and I want to go with being a bit more direct. And I think in that sort of game, unless you play him as a number 8 that is knitting that all together, if you play him on the right hand side, I think Mata gets lost in that sort of game. But you can protect him by having him in the middle. I think that you go a bit more physical with what Jose's trying to do. But I could definitely understand the reasons for playing someone like Mata, because he's about as good a person in possession as you could have, really, isn't he? Mitt says, can Lingard play as a false 9 and Sanchez on the right? Possibly. That might mix it up better. I think Sanchez probably sticks to the role on the right-hand side a little bit better than Jesse does, because Jesse definitely drifts inside looking for that work. But I think Rashford is your other option on that right-hand side as well. And what you'll get with Rashford that I'm not sure you'll get with Sanchez is defensive work rate. And I think that's why you see Lingard and Rashford picked in games like this, because they do more without the ball as well. Jazz says, does Mata deserve a start after his performance at Chelsea away? Really brought the attack together that game. Yeah, like I just said, I can completely understand why you would want to start with him. But if he doesn't, I could probably get that as well. Lukaku, Fellaini and Rashford are not United quality, says Liam McGarvey. Well, you don't... How is scoring 27 goals not United quality? Answer me that. And Marcus Rashford has got the same stats as Ronaldo. Was Ronaldo not United quality? I'm not saying that he's going to develop into a player the same quality as Ronaldo is now, but the same age, they've got the same stats. Come on, mate. And he was also given loads of opportunities, Ronaldo, whereas Rashford's in and out of the team. He's on the left, he's on the right, he's up front. You know, he gets 20 minutes here, half an hour there. We can win if we can attack, says Governor Bandicoot. Ultimately, yeah, but you can't just leave yourself exposed at the back. Pep's got a pretty good record against Jose, worryingly, going into this. We need to replicate what we did in the last derby, where they was on course for winning the league and thought they was going to win the league against us, had the t-shirts printed up and everything. Let's spoil the party for a second time around. Right, that is me. Please tune in after the game. Hopefully it's going to be happy days with a cigar and a lager if we've won. I'm just not very confident. If I have to give you a score prediction, I honestly don't know. I think we lose, to be honest. But hopefully we don't. Hopefully we've managed to get a result. I take a point right now because it's on you to get a point away and it's on the home team to win in these big games. I will take a point if it's an offer right now, but it's a derby day. We want to go and get nothing but the win. So I'm going to say 2-1 United. Let's have it. I will see you on Sunday following the game. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe. Check out Perfect 10. The link is in the description. If you're interested in the FIFA tournament as well, then the Patreon link is in the description as well. Thank you guys for joining us. I will see you in the next one. Laters.